And today we just got done with a defense roundtable with a number of defense contractors and folks who are engaged in the defense industry, and we're focused on creating even more cooperation between the activities that occur here in our local county and the work that I do in Washington. And so I was hoping, Nathan, that you could share with some of our viewers on Facebook some examples of where we've been able to work together and really give more of our local companies opportunity.
Well, it'd be my pleasure and my honor, Congressman Gaetz. It's a pleasure to have you here today. And you know, our relationship, as you well know, goes back 4 years now when I first came to the community. And you know, I found you as a legislator here in Florida to be a tremendous champion of economic development. You spearheaded efforts to reform tax exemptions for manufacturers, among other things. So you've always been a great friend to the economic development process, and we thank you for that. And this particular example that I wanted to discuss with your viewers today has to do with a company that we had the great opportunity to pursue here in Okaloosa County. We're still working with this company, by the way. It is an international European company. And this company was essentially bringing a new opportunity to bear, both in terms of technology for the warfighter, as well as for our American airport system, but also bringing a jobs opportunity to bear for our community, for our region. High-wage jobs, jobs that are well beyond the average wage here in Okaloosa County, so certainly the types of jobs that we get excited about, I know you get excited about. So they came to us with a challenge, as they often do. They don't always come and say, hey, we're ready, we're here, where do we sign the papers, right? They came to us with a challenge, and Congressman, we had a meeting, I think, before you were even elected on this subject.
I think it was before I was even running for office.
Yeah, I think so. And so, you know, we knew that this was a passion of yours and something that you could help us with. So we had a conversation with the principals of the company, the parent of or the CEO of the European parent, as well as the president of the American subsidiary. And they really laid out their challenges, working through some contractual things with the federal government that they were running into some hurdles with. And they had just about given up, to be frank. And we were seeing this opportunity slip through our hands. And we knew that before we allowed them to give up, we needed to try to do everything we could and then some, and certainly bringing you to the table was a key part of that. Thanks to you and the efforts that you engaged in helping champion this once you became elected to Congress, they're now at a point where they're getting some responsiveness that they haven't gotten, frankly, from contracting officers in the U.S. Air Force. They're also now to the point where they feel good enough about where things stand that they're ready to pull the trigger and make some favorable decisions with respect to their location in Fort Walton Beach. We've zeroed in on a building. They're actually reviewing applications for people who will be employed here at that great wage we were talking about. So I just personally want to thank you for getting us this far, and rest assured when we announce this one, you will be invited to that big announcement.
Well, and it's so important for our viewers to know that economic development doesn't just work at any one level of government. You know, it really requires cooperation, and I think it can give Northwest Floridians great confidence that our local economic developers who are out there gardening opportunities each and every day, that they really have produced some winners for us, that in Washington we've been able to go advocate for so that more people are able to compete and provide broader capabilities to the warfighter and to those who are protecting the country and protecting our interests around the world. And so this has been just one success story, but if you're watching and you have ideas about an opportunity for our county, for our community to be able to go and attract business, Nathan is always looking for those chances to be able to go and sell Northwest Florida as a great location to build a business and grow a business, and then we work great together to try to make sure that there's no barrier in the way that Washington creates. So thank you so much, Nathan. I want to bring in now Colonel Heald, who's going to talk about another major economic driver that we have that we were discussing in our defense roundtable. Colonel Heald works for the InDyne company, and one of the great assets that we leverage to be able to grow the military mission is our Gulf test range, where throughout the world there's really it's an unparalleled asset to be able to test our munitions, our bombs, our missiles. And talk a little bit, Colonel, for our visitors about the circumstances we find ourselves in for the need to enhance the capabilities of the Gulf test range, and then the downstream impacts that has on our economy.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, Congressman. And as Nathan said before, thank you so much for what you've been doing up in Washington for us. Your leadership in this particular area is very helpful. The Gulf Range is a unique, one-of-a-kind national asset that allows us to test the newest weapons, the newest weapon systems, the airframes that carry those weapon systems. And as we are protecting our warfighters by making these weapons longer range and more capable, we need to have the test capabilities to be able to look at the entire gamut of what these weapons can do. Unfortunately, the Eglin Gulf ranges out over the water, we have agreements with the FAA and with all of the local communities to be able to use that water space, but we don't have the instrumentation that we need to collect all of the data on those weapon systems. The instrumentation, some of it is as old as being installed in the 1950s.
And for a moment, Colonel, speak to when we have radar, telemetry, and instrumentation that can't keep up with the new munition systems, with the new airframes. How does that impact our ability to attract more of that research mission that really drives our economy?
Right. Well, the obvious answer is that there will be other ranges, other communities that if they can get the instrumentation in place, it will go, those testing opportunities will go to other communities. And so we would like to keep it here in Northwest Florida. The speed of the data, the security of the data is very, very important because so many companies that are foreign or countries that are our enemies are trying to obtain that data. And so we have to have it encrypted, all secured. We have to be able to collect the appropriate bandwidth, and our older systems can't do that. And so we need to replace those systems. We've been trying to place so many missions into the northern Gulf, very close to the Eglin landmass, and we can't put everything in there that we need to put in there. So enhancing the instrumentation capability, moving it further to the east and to the south, will allow us to test all of the newest weapon systems, will allow us to get the operational setups that are needed so that we can make sure that these weapons and weapon systems work for the warfighters, and so the warfighters can protect the nation. And your work to be able to do that, your work with not only the other people on the Armed Services Committee, but on the appropriations side, working with both houses, or both sides of the House, really appreciate the fact that you're willing to reach across the aisle and work with everybody to get this job done.
Well, and the good thing is that the defense of our country should never be a partisan issue. And the good report that we have for Northwest Floridians is that in the most recent defense legislation that's passed the House of Representatives, we've actually got $30 million both authorized and appropriated to come here to the Eglin test range to create those capabilities that Colonel Hield was speaking of, so that we can attract more of that research, testing, development, and evaluation mission right here in our community. So we're waiting for the Senate to take action on that legislation. We've had great cooperation both with Senator Rubio and Senator Nelson's office. They're working together on our behalf to make that happen, and we hope to have more updates soon for our viewers on Facebook. So thanks so much for watching. We really had a great roundtable discussion with a lot of our defense partners today, and we look forward to using the 1st Congressional District Office to fight for the military mission here in Northwest Florida. Thanks so much. Thank you, Colonel Hield.